Hold on.
Okay.
Hello, everybody on YouTube. Guess what? We are here for the final Friday of the month. Well, second to last Friday. I lied about that. But you know what? We're going to have a good time anyways. We're going to turn up the woo. Now, I haven't interviewed Zeta in about 4 years. And this young lady has an incredible story of ET contact, of everything that we love on this show. And tonight, you guys are in for a real treat. Real treat with her. Before I bring her on, let's give a shout out to everybody in our chat room so far as you start piling on in. Hi, gorgeous Renee. Good to see you. Hi, gorgeous Kimberly. Long Island Bigfoot kicking off the super chat tonight. Thank you so much for your support. I love you, man, and I really appreciate the love back. Gorgeous Larry, how you doing, man? Good to have you back here, my friend. All right, let's continue on. Who else is here? There she is. After a few nights off, Becky Belling is back on shift. Beautiful Becky Belling is back in the chat room. All the way down in Florida, we have gorgeous Steph Dickey. How are you, Steph? Thank you for joining us tonight. 404 Error, good to have you here, my friend. Thank you. Jerry O'Brien, thank you for coming on in. John Paul Tavares, you're still waiting for your Stanley Cup ring. It'll be a while in Toronto. UK Andrew, welcome and good morning to you. Ian Herndon, welcome to our chat room. Thank you for coming on in. And we got 13 past midnight. Good to see you guys again. Appreciate you. Worsley, thanks for coming in. I just approved your post in the Spaced Out Radio group, by the way. Fast Hemi Machine, thanks for coming on in. There she is, the lovely and talented Jessica McCreary, everyone. Good for her being here tonight. Tammy Finnegan, we love the woo, and we love you, my dear. How are you? Dirty Fylth, hey, I need a favor. I am putting together a package for Bumblefoot for Christmas. And I am going to be sending out a package here in the next couple of weeks. I would love to include a cartoon, a spaced out radio cartoon that involves Bumblefoot, man. If you could do that for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. The way you normally do them, you do amazing work, and that's why we love you here, my friend. Fast Hemi, good to see you here. Millennium, good to have you back. Princess Denali, the official princess of Spaced Out Radio. Nice to see you, pretty lady. And who else we got? Chris Jarvis is here. Noble Patrick is back. Yes, he is noble. Big Rob, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. Thank you for coming on back. Mr. Apnea, where have you been hiding lately? Were you sleeping? I don't know. Pharmacy, Rich Hilke is here. Look at that, Rich Hilke. Andrew Hall. I just did an interview with Andrew on his podcast a week ago, and we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Good information there. Nike, how are you? You looking gorgeous down in Texas today. Look at you. Gorgeous. Zach Lancaster, welcome, man. Thank you for coming on in. Hi, Shar. How are you? Hey, there she is. KPNL. Is that Ann? Is that Ann in KPNL tonight? There she is. Bama. Boom. How are you, buddy? Oh, Zen Master Me. Thank you so much for the wonderful super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Much love to you, man. Thank you. And Jen A., you're looking lovely tonight. Sweet Donnie C. is back. He's had a few nights off, but he's back in the lineup tonight, everyone. There he is. Jarhead, where have you been hiding, one of my favorite veterans? Good to have you here, man. Thank you. Nucker, pleasure to see you back. The Jim Christie is here, everyone. I think he laughs every time I say that. The Jim Christie is here. King of the Forest, welcome to our chat. Thank you for joining us. Stone Hobbit, good to have you back. And A. Bauman, where have you been hiding? Where have you been hiding? You've been working during the week and can't make it? I think so. Hi, Zion. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm excited to have you back.
I am super excited to be back as well. Thank you so much for having me, and to your team and to the listeners that requested me to be back on Spaced Out Radio.
I know. It's so exciting. I remember when you were just this little fledgling, little star that was waiting to erupt in this field. And now look at you. You got thousands of followers. You have great messages from the stars. And, we're going to open up on that tonight. I'm excited about it. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, and thank you for having me. It's an honor and pleasure to be here, and I am looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Oh, it's going to be fun. We're going to get going here in just a couple of seconds as we are getting ready for tonight's show. And there he is, Andrew Fricker. Good to have you here. Rono, how are you? Now, Ron, let's be honest. Have you put the glue down yet? Let's be honest. Anyways, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. All right, we have 40 seconds before we're going to go. Remember, everyone, a great way to support this show is to hit that subscribe button and share this show along with all your friends on your social media platforms. Give us a thumbs up. Super Chat is great as well. And don't forget, you can check out our brand new store, get some brand new swag by going to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. Great stuff in there for you, and we're going to get those first orders out very, very quick. Hi, Jose. We are about 8 seconds away from launching tonight. Zion Zeta is our guest, and we're having a blast, and here we go. Of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The lovely and talented Zion Zeta is the author of Connecting the Stars. She is an alien abductee and contactee, as well as a military abductee. Zion had a spiritual awakening back in 2010 after being confronted by a reptilian council in a vision, and they told her that she was not fulfilling her agreement, which was a contract to reincarnate on Earth for a specific purpose. Zion has witnessed black helicopters, black ops, and experienced electronic interference, phone tapping, internet surveillance, hacked online blogs, and mysterious phone calls. She's also had an encounter with the Men in Black, but not every experience was negative. She eventually encountered a militaristic group of benevolent draconians. Yes, we are turning up the woo tonight, all for you guys. Her website, zionzeta.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Miss Zion Zeta, it's been about 4 years since we've had you on this show, and literally I have watched you and your message blossom into a very powerful voice in the UFO/alien type community. And I have to tell you, there are not a lot of young women doing what you were doing, and you need to be commended for having that strength and that gumption to stand up and tell your story.
First of all, Dave, I want to thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor and pleasure to be here with you and everyone, of course, that is currently listening right now. And I want to thank you for the huge compliment, because if I am honest with you, that has not been my perspective in the past 10 years that I have been involved in the UFO community for that same reason. In a nutshell, you get rejected a lot for being young. So being young equals being naive. So it's interesting to hear your perspective about me and how you see me, because it's been the complete opposite.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, you can say the same thing about us, because like we were talking off the air and you're like, I can't believe how much you've grown with Spaced Out Radio since before. But much like you, we've had our trials and tribulations too over the years. So, I mean, there is a lot of the outside facade that we see comparatively to the ability of the trials and tribulations in getting there. But I mean, the fact that you're still in the fight, you're still in the game, you still feel very strong about the message you were putting out needs to be commended.
Thank you, Dave. And it's interesting because when I received the invitation to hop on Spaced Out Radio, I have been for the past 2 years considering to leave the UFO community for not only this reason, but also other reasons that I am sure probably your listeners and maybe yourself, Dave, you guys might agree on this. And it's the infiltration of political agendas in the UFO community. That's the first one. And the second one is UFO celebrities.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of those. There is definitely a lot of those out there. But it's one of those things where we're going to concentrate tonight on your message because you have a lot to say, and you are someone who is, very loud and poignant about your message and your own experiences. And I got to ask you, let's go back a couple of seconds when I mentioned you being a young female voice in this. You mentioned how difficult it has been. Explain to people who may not understand the world of ufology how it's been difficult for you.
Well, first of all, if you are not involved in the UFO community, you're going to think that we're all nuts. So that's one thing, especially if you are young, because a lot of people tend to discourage their kids, for example. If the kids are having experiences, oh, you're just imagining things, it's no big deal, or you have a creative imagination, you could be a writer. So there is a little bit of pressure on young people because they have no credentials. They have no PhDs. They have not been to any military branch, for example. It's like the whole credibility issue that is lacking among youngsters. And so that automatically makes them get shot down by other people with more experience in the community because, oh, they're nobody. And I'm going to put myself here as an example. I was, and I still consider myself to be a nobody because I don't have credible, I don't know how to say this, credentials, perhaps like being in the military or being this in the government or that. So that's one issue. The second issue is the age. The third issue is the gender. Typically, females tend to be harassed as well in the UFO community, especially if you are young. And unfortunately, that has been the case for me with certain people with semi-large names, UFO celebrities, so to speak, in this community. But I feel that I am getting off track here, Dave.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I don't think you're getting off track. I think you're talking very passionately about something that is perplexing to you and some of the struggles you go through with getting your own personal message that is out there. And without calling out any names, why do you think that there are a lot of people out there, Zion, who are maybe not buying what you're saying? Is it because you have a lot of information that may be contrary to what the old guard says? Or is it, the fact that a lot of women in this field, that we've had everybody from Nicole Sackich and Samantha Mowat to Lorian Fenton and Melinda Leslie talk about the struggles of females in ufology and not having their message taken seriously?
Okay, I'm going to take the role of the skeptic here just for a second. I don't personally think that it has to do with what I have to share because people are not obligated to believe a single thing that I share or say. And this is something I tell everyone when they approach me. I am not here to force anybody to believe me or what I say or share. I am just here to share my story to get answers. That's why I went public with everything 10 years ago and released my first book 4 years ago, Connecting the Stars, because I wanted to share my story, but nobody was listening to me for being a female and for being young. Because at the time that I released my first book, I believe that I was about 22 years old or about 23. I lost count. I'm getting old, so I don't even know how old I was at the time. But that's a huge issue. It's that women are not taken seriously, it not just in the UFO community. This goes beyond this. It's not new. It's an old topic. It goes beyond this. I think we all know this already. Um, and I think that that's the case. It's the age and also for being a female. And I'm not here to be a feminist, like, oh, men hate us, blah, blah, blah. No. However, it's an interesting perspective to notice in the UFO community where you're supposed to be heard and listened to if you have experiences to share with the public in hopes of getting answers. And because I wasn't getting answers, I decided to self publish my first imperfect book in hopes to have someone find me, help me to figure out why these things happen to me. But unfortunately, it's been the opposite. More people have approached me with more questions. And so I've been the one trying to answer, but most of the time I've been unable to because I'm not God. I'm not a know it all. I'm just winging it on planet Earth.
But that goes for a lot of people in the community, right? You could have the right message, but a lot of times in the UFO community, there is a lot of ignoring. There's a lot of people that are do as I say, not as I do. There are a lot of people who are out there who are grabbing the message, and even though you're telling them something that maybe they need to hear, they're not taking that message because they're blinded by the celebrity light, or they are blinded by their own knowledge or personal beliefs. I know a couple people that I am very close to, and they are highly well educated. They are highly respected in this community, and they come to me and they're always like, "How did you know that? How did you know that was going to happen?" Well, first off, I have a tad of intuition, but number two, being a journalist for as long as I have, I've been able to read between the lines. And the one thing that I've noticed about this community, as many others have, so it's no big secret, people only hear what they want to hear. And if they feel you're too in depth, you're too tense, you're too muscled up about the topic, they immediately tune you out. And it's a sad exposure for what we are trying to go through.
Yes, and not only that, but it's interesting also, Dave, now that you mentioned that, how easy it is for a UFO celebrity to destroy someone that doesn't really have any support. And I've seen this happen to other people. I've had this happen to myself. And it's interesting when you have a large audience, you are basically an influencer, and it is a scary thing because you can control all of these people and turn them all against a single person, whether you have the proof of them being a fraud or not. And unfortunately, that has been the case for me. Without wanting to get too much into detail about it,
Yeah.
it's been my experience that I've had people with, quite some status in the UFO community that have been wanting to shut me down because I have not been wanting to accept their advances towards me.
Right. And that's not the first time I've heard that either. Well, let's talk about something a little bit more positive here in regards to you and your research. In 2010, you had a massive, massive experience that led you to really change paths in your life. Explain what happened back then.
So, going back to summer of 2009, I was living in Florida with my family, and one night they were out getting some groceries. I was at home with my mother. However, my brother called her to help them with the groceries, but during the call, he was screaming at her to go outside because he was seeing a UFO with my aunt. I did not know what was going on except that she stormed off. So I go to my bedroom, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something standing outside my window. Mind you, we used to live on a third floor. So at the same time, I was sketched out because it didn't make sense to me to see someone standing outside my window. So when I looked outside, of course, nobody was there. But I had the strangest feeling that I was being watched, so I decided to leave to the living room. However, the balcony faced towards the same spot, so I still felt watched. So when my family returned, they all started to tell me that they saw a UFO. And so this intrigued me because my family and I were Christian Catholics at the time, but we were very open minded about ET life and ghosts and other paranormal topics. So that sparked my intrigue and my curiosity to research the topic of UFOs and alien life and whether it was possible or not. So I eventually came across the topic of astral projection on a forum on the internet. And so I was super skeptical about it and questioning it. So the most logical thought that I had at the time, my 16-year-old conclusion was, well, if it's real, let's give it a shot. I will practice the exercises that I find and I'll see whether this is real or not. And of course, if anybody is curious on how to astral project, I do have a free ebook on my website. It's zionzeta.com/astral. And in that guidebook, you can get several tips and tricks as well as hints on how you can practice some of the exercises that I used to practice back in 2010. So the reason why I made this information for free is because I found it for free. However, except for some techniques that I adjusted and customized to my experience, this is something I suggest to anybody who wants to do anything in life. Add your own spark to it, because when you add your energy into something, it tends to work a lot better because you are getting yourself involved in it. So in a nutshell, to summarize a couple of months in 2010, I practiced astral projection. However, my problem or mistake was that I had to choose a target. You have to be very specific with astral projection, and my target was military bases, which was not a very smart idea. The reason why was because I needed a target that I could research later to see if what I saw in the astral plane was accurate or not, kind of similar to remote viewing. So that's exactly what I did. However, during those practices, before I started to get into the military bases, I did have a vision where I was taken to a spacecraft. And in this spacecraft, there were about 7+ reptilian beings, green reptilians, mind you, sitting on thrones, and they were waiting on me to approach them. So when I approached them, I was very curious, and they knew that I was wondering why I was there and who they were. And so when I asked them, they kind of scolded me because they proceeded to tell me, you are not fulfilling your contract. And so when I questioned them, what contract are you guys talking about? One of them, assuming the leader, responded, your purpose to reincarnate on Earth for a specific mission that you have to find out what it is. And that's when the doors opened below me and I fell down to Earth. It was like a review of what I could expect once I reincarnated on Earth. So they showed me hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes. They showed me technically many of the natural disasters that take place on this planet. I don't think it was a vision of a possible future event or anything. It was more of a preparation of some of the things that I could expect, including civil wars among the people on large cities, like protesting and such. And that's when I could feel myself returning to my body, and I woke up with sleep paralysis. And of course, that's what pushed me even further into researching the reptilian topic as well, besides the UFOs, the alien life, and astral projection.
Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Well, as we go back to that 2010 evidence and that experience that you had, there's a lot of people who may be asking out there, what do you mean contract? What does that exactly mean?
A contract is when the soul agrees to come to a certain planet to fulfill whatever it is that they have to do. However, because your energy becomes materialized into a dense form, for example, becoming a human, it is very likely that you will not remember a single thing, or you will have fragments of your previous time before you came to Earth. So a contract is pretty much what makes us feel alive while we are here on Earth, or what makes us angry that we want to change.
Okay. So with that contract, have we all signed one?
You know what, Dave? That is a really fascinating question that I do not think I will be able to answer, because in the end, nobody knows, and nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what we're here to do, or what we're supposed to be or act or do. So that would be mostly, if I had to give you a direct answer, it's up to the person's own individual self, because it's impossible to know everybody's purpose or contracts, or if there is a reason. I know that in the new age it said, oh, we're all one. However, we're all still individual human beings with our own egos, our own personalities. We are very different from each other, so it would be very hard to speak for everyone.
Okay, so as you were personally having this experience, because that's really the only experience you could think of, as we got about 2 minutes before we go to break at the bottom of the hour, at what point did you start having ET contact? Was it before 2010, or did it really start to take off after this 2010 incident?
It's a lifelong thing that started since my childhood. However, I became aware of it in 2010 and onwards.
Okay, so as it happened onwards, was it becoming more vivid and real for you?
No, not at all. The contact was physical when I was a child. However, I was not allowed to remember. And then after I became aware of everything in 2010 and onwards, it became more like premonitions in the dream state, lucid dreams, and astral projection.
That's a lot to take on for being in a very, very tough time of childhood in those teenage years.
It is. It is very isolating because I kept it all to myself for the first 2 years.
Why did you feel that you needed to keep it to yourself?
I wasn't confident about my family believing in me. I used to try to throw hints to them here and there. However, I could see the resistance due to religion and religious programming, of course.
Okay, yeah, and I can understand that. I can. In regards to the experience you were having, did you find that first one to kind of be positive, or of a negative type of reaction?
Oh, it's a mixed bag of both, Dave. Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. At first, it was negative, but as I gradually started to learn how to use psychic protection and shielding and such, eventually, after 2 years, everything started to change.
and that change is what we will talk about when we come back on Spaced Out Radio, as Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. She has a book out called Connecting the Stars. It's about her ET contact experiences. We're going to talk more aliens, ET contact, my labs, everything with Zion Zeta, her website, zionzeta.com, if you want to check it on out. More on Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, we are clear. That was a quick half hour.
I know, right? That was amazing. I can't believe it already.
I know.
I have a lot of fun with you, Dave.
I'm not gonna lie, my beard is looking good tonight. I'm looking at it on the camera. My beard is shining tonight. So
yeah, it's looking bushy. Get it?
Yes. Well, what I'm gonna have to do here is I'm gonna have to add a little bit of Mighty Moose beard oil from my buddy Gary at MightyMooseBeard.com because he takes care of my beard. Just drop a few drops and rub it on in to make this look luscious and shiny and beautiful as Gary takes care of my beard. And I take the rest of it and just put it through my hair because it's good for the ends and keeps things shiny and new.
I remember when you had your hair so long.
I know.
You look like such a rock star.
Well, I cut it to donate it to a listener who's a cancer patient. And so that's what I did. And that was the first time ever in my life I had grown out my hair. So I decided that I'm now going to grow it for me. So that's what I'm doing.
That was such a beautiful gift from you, Dave. You're so sweet.
I am. I'm not going to lie. That's what happens when you have a nice beard. That's what happens. You know, but in my pre-beard days, I was a jerk. But now that I've got the beard, it gives me something to go,
Are you sure about that, Dave?
No, it's true. Look. Right? So that works for me. Let's give a shout out. Hey, Stetson John, how you doing, buddy? Stetson John, he is back. He always has a Stetson on when he listens to this show. The Stetson hat. So I don't know why, but he just does. He's like lying in bed in his underwear, cowboy boots, and his Stetson hat on right now. I can tell. I know. Zion's like, where the hell do I go with that?
I know, right?
Uh-huh.
You remind me of a wizard.
Hey, Hayden Clark, welcome to our show for the first time in our chat room. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the compliment.
Should I call you a gnome?
No, I have no more fear of gnomes. I have no more fear. No, that's over. That's over. David Weatherly 2 years ago scolded me on the whole gnome thing, where I had to quickly change my ways because if you show anger towards a gnome, they will come back for revenge, and he didn't want to see that happen to me. Hey, Doomslayer, welcome to our chat room for the first time, man. Thank you for joining us. Reverend Keith, amen to you, brother. Amen to you. We love you, man. Wayland, boom, in Alabama. Boom. I don't know why, but it just feels good. Boom. We got 2 minutes before we're going to go to break here, or come on a break here.
I just want to say a quick hello to chat. I am stalking everyone.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah. Why not? Why not? I do. Let's see.
I hope everyone is doing well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. We're having a good time.
Also, I hope I'm not deafening all of you guys.
No.
Okay.
It'll just be me and my headphones, and if you see me all of a sudden throw my headphones off, then you know it's kind of loud.
Oh. Well, I tend to talk loud because I'm Puerto Rican. Yeah, it's interesting. I tend to eat my microphone as well because apparently people can't hear me. So sometimes I wonder if I am deafening everyone or not.
I'm good. I got you. I got you beautifully set. We got just over a minute here on the show. And, yeah. Well, it's...
404, I don't drink leaf juice. I'm sorry.
No, she only gets right into the tequila right off the bat.
Can you believe I don't drink, Dave?
I don't drink either, except in Vegas.
I'm good with one White Claw.
I have had a case of beer in my fridge for over a month now, and it's still unopened.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it'll probably be that way until Christmas time. Whatever. I don't care. All right. We have 30 seconds. Thank you so much to Long Island Bigfoot, to Zen Master Me, and to Alaska's greatest athlete, Ladybug Bigelow, for the super chats. It's a great way to support this show. Another way to support, if you're new, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before we hit the end of the year. So here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Good to have you all here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on the show. She's got a book out called Connecting the Stars, talking about her life of ET contact, and that's what we're going to get deep into tonight. ZionZeta.com is her website, so make sure you go there and get her book right now. Zion, welcome back.
Hello, Dave. Thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm having a great time with you and the rest of your chat.
Thank you. Not a problem. We absolutely love the fact that you are here as well. And I got to ask you, being a young woman in your teens, when all of a sudden you were getting ET contact, you mentioned that you were quite alone in your own thoughts, having a religious background with the family, and obviously this is not something you can bring up with the sisters or your priest or many other things. You feel all alone. For people who may not have had contact and really understand what it's about, how lonely is that?
Oh, it is. I don't even know how to explain it. Personally, I'm not sure if you or Chad can relate here, but I am an overthinker, of course. It comes with being a perfectionist. When you're a perfectionist, you overthink, especially when people keep shutting you down and rejecting you and gaslighting you, so you start to question your sanity, right? So being on my own with my own thoughts was very depressing and lame, because I did not have someone to talk to. And so in my own mind, I was like, am I going crazy? Do I need to go to a psychiatrist? But what if I am imagining things? How can I confirm this? So there is a lot of questions, and it can become very dark, and you can spiral down very quickly if you don't catch yourself with your own negative thoughts, especially when your thoughts lead you into depression, and depression leading you to becoming suicidal due to being isolated and alone and unheard, as well as misunderstood. And this is something I don't really see being spoken about too often in the UFO community or New Age community at all. It's the mental health of each individual person. And that is something I've gone through myself as well. And does my family know that I was suicidal? No. I'm not going to waste my time telling them or worrying them. They can't do anything about it. I have to help myself. So that's what I eventually proposed to myself when I got tired and fed up of being depressed and sad for being isolated and alone. So that's when I started to reach out to people online, which wasn't always a good idea. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game. The minute you enter UFO Twitter, that is for sure.
No.
So, we don't recommend it for anybody. It is dangerous out there.
No.
It is dangerous.
Neither Facebook groups. No, stay away, please.
No, absolutely. But if you take the social media aspect aside, Okay, here you are. You're having this contact. So after your incident in 2010, how often did the contact happen after that?
It started to slow down and it came to a pause because I was too focused on practicing astral projection to military bases. So I want to condense 1 year into just a few minutes to spare you guys everything. However, you guys can read 7 random chapters for free on zionzeta.com/ebook. So you can get a taste of my book. But in it, I share everything in every little tiny detail. But to summarize several months of astral projecting to military bases, I started to notice a pattern. When the first time that I was able to go to a military base in the astral plane, it was interesting because I woke up, I saw myself floating above my own body. So I was excited because that gave me a sign that I was doing it. So I headed towards the window and I got stuck in it because I was having anxiety during that moment. Because it reminded me of all those times as a kid whenever I would go through walls, through the ceiling, and through the windows. So it was a very negative flashback experience in that moment. So when the anxiety kicked up, I felt that I became quote unquote solid between the wall with the window. So what I noticed was that the more I took deep breaths, the more I could relax and calm down, and the more I could feel myself dissolving and going through the window. So that's when eventually I targeted my intention of where I wanted to go, or rather, where I wanted my consciousness to go to. And it was a military base. So after I went to this military base, I did see from afar in the desert a rounded ceiling because it seemed to be oval shaped and it was a metallic structure. And mind you, that's why I wanted to be blind with the target so I could confirm it later on. So I entered this base, and the first thing I encountered was a soldier pointing at me with a futuristic looking rifle. And so I was puzzled that he could see me and interact with me. So he asked me who I was. I was shocked, and then he took me to another room. So the gun he was holding could touch me, but he couldn't. So in this wide room where typically you would store jets or something like that, again, I'm a military base nub, as you can tell.
Like an airplane hangar.
Something like that. Yeah, you know more about that thing than I do, Dave. So a lot of people were reunited in that area. There were uniformed people that had patches from NASA, while their uniforms were blue. There were secretaries, there were Air Force members, Navy, and Army, and so forth. But none of them could see me. However, they were all in a circle looking into the core of the room. So in a way, they were circling me, but they could not look at me directly because I wasn't there. So apparently, from what I gather from this experience was there were two psychic soldiers, as I call them, in there that could interact with me because they were communicating with me, asking me for my information, and relaying it to the people around them. So eventually, the doors opened and a small UFO came in and dropped a cube with engraved symbols in it. When this happened, my body started to have an electric reaction to it as if this thing was giving me electricity. Because of this, I blacked out. And as I was blacking out, I heard someone shout, "Take her to another room." When I black out, I wake up in this other room where there is this military man in his 50s where he is questioning me. And in a nutshell, like, who are you? Where do you come from? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. You know that you can't come in here, blah, blah. Eventually, he decided to let me go because I was trying to wake myself up, but I couldn't. And so he told me, kid, never return to these military bases. And as soon as he said that, he pressed a button, and I could feel that I was dissolving. And as I was dissolving, so were my surroundings. And they were changing back into me flying towards my apartment at the time. The funny part about this whole experience, Dave, and everyone listening, is that in this floating phase where I am going through the window, I look at myself in my bed and I am lying face down, right? So I tell myself if I wake up in this same position, then this is a confirmation that this may have been a real experience. So I hovered over my own body and then I fell into it. So I woke up with sleep paralysis in the same position, facing down, resting my head over my forearms. And that's how I kind of confirm that this experience may have happened.
And it's something that you can't confirm whether or not it's a dream or whether there is a reality to it. So, were there any clues leading you to understanding that that event actually happened?
I eventually found out several months later, out of nowhere, I came across a picture of how a military base looks like from the outside. And it was a metallic structure with an oval ceiling. And that's how I was confirmed that what I saw was a real target.
Okay. So, what went through your mind when all of a sudden you got that confirmation?
A lot of mixed feelings, of course, because who do I tell this to? And second, again, overthinking. Am I going nuts? Did I see something that influenced this? And I would go back and I would be like, no, I haven't seen any alien movies or series or things on the internet or YouTube. There is no way that I could have guessed how a military base looks like if I hadn't researched it. So eventually, my skeptical side kind of gave in, and I started to consider, oh, fudge brownies. This is a real thing. And that's how I accepted it. After being in denial, eventually I gave up in continuing to deny it.
So this denial that you have, was that just your own skepticism inside of you saying there's no way this is possible? And yet all of these clues are leading to the fact that there was something that happened.
Yes, yes, because Dave, this is the thing, and I'm sure you and everyone can relate. We want evidence. We want confirmation. We want something real. We want something tangible. And unfortunately, my overthinking leads me to be a skeptic sometimes when I have things happen in real time that get confirmed later on. And I don't want to sound dramatic here, but it tends to be such an internal struggle with yourself when you want to debunk your own experiences, but everything points out to the opposite.
Okay, so when you say it points out to be the opposite, what exactly does that mean?
That it's all more real than I want to think
Right.
and more real than I feel comfortable in admitting.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So at this point, you've been astral projecting, trying to figure out what is happening. You've now pissed off the government spies and remote viewers and psychic warriors. When did the aliens come in?
Well, that's the interesting part. And I am sure that I'll get roasted for this if you are psychic or are into psychic protection. But I didn't use psychic protection for the first 2 years of my spiritual awakening because, oh, psychic protection is for losers. I don't need that. I'm going to be fine. And this is not real. And the black helicopters is, fudge brownies. They ain't real. So that's my skepticism really really tried to destroy me in a sense. Because if it wasn't for that internal struggle, I would have been able to prevent a lot of weird stuff that happened to me due to not using psychic protection and shielding and blocking out negative energies as well as entities that have no place in your life, including human energies.
Makes sense. Oh, so when you were all of a sudden, oh, there's just so many directions here. I gotta get my focus here. Let's go back to the military my labs here for a second because you have this experience now. You are on the military's radar for this. Did you feel like you were being tracked after that?
Well, I thought that this was all BS. So eventually, in 2011, a year later, I started to notice an increase in black helicopters in my area. And it's interesting because where I used to live in, I lived in that place twice in 6 years or something. And I remember not seeing a single helicopter at all. And on the first time that I used to live in there. And in this second time that I was in there, it was interesting to start to notice helicopters in that area, not just normal police helicopters or firefighters or anything, but actual black helicopters that were unmarked. What concerned me about the black helicopters wasn't them, but the fact of them flying so low over my area. Literally not even five, well, maybe 5 feet or 10 above the power lines, question mark. Uh, so I could see one time one of the pilots that was in one of the black helicopters flying above my apartment. So that's how I started to question things again and wonder, hey, this is interesting. I've never seen a black helicopter, much less unmarked. Isn't that illegal? So, but I didn't think too much of it. At the time I was in high school, I didn't care. I just wanted to get my good grades and that's it. However, sometimes they would fly so low that the whole apartment would shake. And in Puerto Rico, houses are made of concrete and apartments, not of, not how American homes are made or other places and such. So it was interesting to feel the power of the helicopter and its close proximity to my area. So that's when I was like, there is something off in here. I'm not sure how I can investigate this, but I'll see what I can do. And that's when I started to research them and I came across Melinda Leslie and, of course, a TV series with episodes of the black helicopters and investigations on who they are and what they do.
Okay, so now that you are on their radar, so to speak, for astral projection into a military base, and now they're sending the black helicopters over to you. As we got about 5 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Did the ET contact start after that, or did the MyLabs begin after that?
The My Labs began before the black helicopter showed up, and it was because of me trying to practice astral projection to military bases. The ET contact took a semi break. I was mostly having issues with military abductions, quote unquote. The reason why I say quote unquote is because despite so many years, 10 years, I still have my doubts and questions about the things that happened to me. When you have negative experiences, Dave, with low vibrational entities or people, in this case, the shadow military, it blocks you out from any other energy that may be trying to intervene to help you. So that's exactly what happened to me. And it didn't help that I wasn't taking the necessary precautions to protect my energy by using psychic shielding.
Okay, so for people who may not understand, what is psychic shielding?
Psychic shielding is when you focus your mind, when you hold your intention in your mind and in your heart, that you are protected from any energy, physical and non physical, across time and space, human or non human, to stay out of your bubble or energetic field. There are various ways to do this. You can use crystals, the power of prayer if you are into religion, or the power of your mind and intention if you're not into religion, or using incense, candles, and meditation to raise your frequency.
Do you put that bubble all around you?
It is as simple as picturing yourself inside a bubble in your favorite color and visualizing it strengthening and becoming brighter and brighter. If you do believe in something like a god or guides or angels, you can ask them for further assistance to make this bubble stronger. Or if you are atheist, you can also ask yourself as well. Because in the end, you also have the power. I know that many people are not big fans of giving their power away to something external, so that is also an option as well.
Okay, so with that, because I think a number of spiritual people out there do protect themselves with white light, gold light, red light, pink light, whatever they feel comfortable with. When you are protecting yourself, are you in a different color light?
It depends on the mood and the situation. Sometimes I like to picture my shield, which is the bubble, as an electric shield to electrify any negative energy that does not match this electricity, so to speak. So you can get creative with it because, again, it's all about intention and putting your energy into something. So when you focus the mind on this, it's very likely that it'll work for you. So that's why I'm not really a fan of telling people exactly what to do, but to tell them, hey, here's this, customize it to your liking, here's what you can do, to give them options so that they don't limit themselves. Otherwise, they are limiting their energy to something that they're reading from somebody else. And what I want here is for them to believe in their power that they can do this.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But, it doesn't matter in order to ground yourself what kind of religion you are or what you actually believe in. It really is the power of the soul overall, is it not?
Yes, that's where your true sovereign power comes from. And this is why I'm not a fan of exactly telling people what to do, but I'd like to give them pointers so that they have an
Sure,
idea of how to do it.
sure.
Yes.
You can do that if you want. We got a minute.
Okay, so I want to answer a question from Balkman, question mark. Zeta, did you see the helicopter in the day or the nighttime? No, it's always been in the daytime. It's always been in the daytime. I've never seen them in the nighttime. I mean, can you see them in the nighttime? I wouldn't, honestly. So it's typically been during the day. Yes.
Interesting. Oh, great. So Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Are you someone who keeps a journal with all of your experiences?
My phone, yes. I have all of my dreams saved from the past 10 years and astral experiences as well. Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of writing down. I'm lucky if I'm lucky if I write down my guest's name for the night. I'll be honest.
I can relate.
Yes, no kidding. No kidding. No, it is awesome that you are here tonight, and I really do appreciate you taking the time. Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. As we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour, when we come back, what's it like to be face to face with extraterrestrials? What exactly do they want? What messages have they given this young lady from Puerto Rico who's just trying to be a student and now has to deal with these damn aliens? We got to figure this out right here on Spaced Out Radio. Her website is Spaced Out Radio. That's my website, spacedoutradio.com. Hers is zionzeta.com. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, we are clear. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
All right.
Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Tribe and Tribe Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Tribe Charities, just go to tribecharities.org/donate.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back, Dave.
1 second here. Let me get my headphones
All right.
on.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you. Well, I could. It just sounded like... There we go. Now I can hear you.
I was welcoming you back.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. We have about just over 2 minutes here. 2 minutes before we come back.
I was just answering a couple questions from the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Very lovely people. Very interesting
Oh, yeah.
questions. I love them.
They're good people. They're good people. You know, John,
Question mark?
Well, I mean, with Stetson John there wearing his hat and his underwear and cowboy boots in bed while listening, it's a little weird.
Oh,
but, you know.
Interesting.
You know. Okay, all of our listeners want to know a couple of things here. And the first question is, what is your opinion of eating breakfast foods for dinner?
Oh, I don't eat breakfast for dinner except waffles. Blueberry waffles, of course. I had them just before the interview with honey.
I thought you were better than that.
Wait, why?
Eating waffles for dinner, that's breakfast food.
It doesn't matter. Food has no time limit.
It so does. That's why it's called breakfast food.
You know what, Dave? Let's fight. I want to start an argument with you in chat. What about pineapple pizza? Yes or no?
Pineapple pizza? Absolutely.
What? Oh my gosh. I'm ending this interview. I'm leaving.
What are
Thank
you
for
talking
having
about?
me.
What are you
Goodbye,
talking
chat.
about?
Nice to meet you guys.
Wow. Wow. It's a Canadian thing.
What?
Yes.
No, that is unacceptable, Dave. No, please. You broke my heart.
You eat breakfast for dinner. You broke mine.
That's a normal thing. Pineapple pizza is not.
It is so. And it tastes good. I used to hate it. Now I love it. That's the only time I eat pineapple.
Oh my lord. I can't believe you. How
All
about
right.
shrimp pizza?
Shrimp pizza? No. Yuck. Ew. No.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. Hold on. Stay there.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
The great debate during the break. Ham and pineapple pizza, is it good or is it not? I am in the good category. Apparently, our guest is not. We're not sure if she's returning now to the show. Well, maybe she is. And I want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is this here? Brachycatalectic. Brachycatalectic is your password. Nobody really knows what it means, but the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with experiencer Zion Zeta. Her website, zionzeta.com, where you can get her book, which is called Connecting the Stars, Her Life as an ET Abductee. Zion, welcome back.
Hello, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. However, you've broken my heart with pineapple pizza.
You eat breakfast for dinner. Breakfast
Of course.
Breakfast foods are labeled as breakfast foods because they're meant for breakfast, not dinner.
And pineapple is not normal on a pizza. It's fruit. You should not mix fruit with pizza. Never.
What about with salad? What about like cranberries or strawberries with salad?
That's more acceptable, yes. However, I'm not a big fan of vegetables, so you can keep them.
All right. All right. We'll agree to disagree. And, let's move on here. By the way, Nicole in Illinois says that ham and pineapple pizza is fantastic. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, gorgeous Nicole. Anyways, moving on here on the show. We were talking about your own ET contact. What kind of species have you had contact with from that first meeting to now?
It's been mostly the reptilians that were dominant in my experience during those years. Of course, the Zeta Grays have also been present a lot. In fact, they were the first ones to make an appearance before I started to even practice astral projection. And this was an experience that I had after the UFO sighting in Florida. When we moved back to Puerto Rico a couple months later, was when I believe I had my first conscious alien abduction. And that night I couldn't sleep. It was 5 in the morning and I was really upset. It was storming outside and I was just staring out the window with the lightning strikes, and eventually a lightning struck, and then it's as if time froze. And when I look at the end of my bed, I see 3 grays standing at the end of my bed looking back at me in black uniforms. So my natural reaction was to roll off the bed, to fall on the floor and run away. But as soon as I did that, I blacked out. And 2 hours later, I woke up back in the bed, puzzled, lost, confused. I had no memory of what happened, but I was super scared because I was having sleep paralysis and I had no idea where I was, even though I was in my room, but I still didn't know where I was. However, I never really knew what happened, whether it was a real thing or not, until 6 years later that I found out through a psychic that, and the psychic did not know about this, which was the funny part, that I tried to debunk, but I couldn't because the psychic did not know. It came through in the session that they wanted to speak to me to tell me that they did not want to harm me. They wanted to release an etheric implant. Etheric meaning non-physical implant in my system that was preventing me from voicing my truth and speaking up about certain things and situations. As a kid, I was too shy, too quiet, too scared of people, afraid of talking and approaching people. I would always hide behind my family. Even as a teenager, I would ignore people and such. And I never really liked talking to people because I was so afraid. And apparently, allegedly, it was because I had an etheric implant that was preventing me from doing that. And in this session, it came through that there was an exchange, but I could only remember my exchange, which was to provide them with my eggs for them to create hybrids, which I kind of already knew, but it was fully confirmed in that session, and more, because that's when I found out their parts and what they did. And after 6 years of being afraid of the grays, I started to become more open and accepting towards them.
Why?
Because I was racist. Okay, I know this is not the correct term, but there is such a thing as intergalactic racism, as I call it, where people discriminate certain ET races for not being handsome, for not being blonde with blue eyes. If it's not blonde with blue eyes, it's automatically evil because they're not aesthetically pleasing, they're not handsome, they're not attractive. So it's interesting to notice this still to this day after 10 years. So I had to go through my own BS and my own mindset and blockages to start to be more accepting towards them.
Right. Okay. So these grays, though, I think there are different species of these. Some freak people out. Then there's others like the ones who were with you or my buddy Carl, who showed up at the window, who are curious. Their curiosity is a little bit forthcoming, and they know the human reaction is to have fear, but it takes a little bit of a time to break down those walls.
It is, yes. It took me many years to break down those walls and go beyond the stories that I would read online of the Greys being evil or wanting to destroy planet Earth and kill us all or sacrifice virgins. Oh, no, wait, hold on a second. That's the reptilians. Apparently, the reptilians want to sacrifice women and drink their blood or something. Or were they wanting to conquer planet Earth? I'm not sure. The lines get blurred a lot between the Greys and the reptilians, but I digress. It didn't help to go into conspiracy forums and read all the stories about them because it wasn't helping my mental state. or helping me to even understand what the heck was going on with me. So it took a lot of time to start to neutralize my viewpoint and to stop the external noise. A lot of people get influenced due to external noise, but when you learn to still your mind and look within yourself and find your voice, which is what they helped me with, it's when you realize all these program patterns that you have due to family, due to what you see on the internet, due to what people tell you. So there was a lot of detangling to do, mentally speaking and emotionally speaking.
Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I have a few questions coming from the chat room here for you. So I'd like to open this up. Cat Chaser is asking, have you ever been told how aliens pick human females for hybridization?
No. My perspective, and again, this is my perspective, it's not the final and all be all truth. My perspective on this is that it comes back into contracts, soul contracts that we make before coming to Earth. And we simply don't remember. Again, it's that materialization of your consciousness into a physical body, and you leave behind your knowledge of your true self, and you become like a brand new avatar, so to speak. Kind of like a video game character when you start a new story. You're clueless of everything until you get yourself around the environment of the game and you start to get the hints and the clues, or someone gives you a quest or something. So it's kind of similar to that. So I would not dare to answer that question really, because I'm not like an authority or God or anything. But my perspective, it comes down to individual contracts.
Jenny is asking, how can you tell good reptilians from bad reptilians?
That took me a while, and I'll explain why. First of all, I wasn't using psychic protection for the first 2 years, or shielding, as people call it, for simpler terms. And that really didn't help. There was a lot of weird stuff going on that I did not need to go through if it wasn't for using psychic protection. Now, in a nutshell, to answer your question, it took me a while. Reptilians are tricky, but again, humans are also tricky. So I want to ask you as well, how can you tell a good human from a bad human? However, if I may answer that question, it comes down to energy. When you tune in to the being face to face, and if you are aware of how energy works, you do know whether your field contracts, closes off, shuts down, or expands. You feel free. You feel that you can breathe. In my case, sometimes I could feel suffocated. I could feel shut down. I didn't want to, with my chest, like hiding my chest, like with my shoulders, like I could feel closed off. And it comes down to energy. Some people may feel that there is a pull in their heart area or their stomach area. In my case, it's in my stomach area, and that's when I know it's anxiety. Anxiety can come up in many different forms. So it will manifest differently for other people. But in my case, it's, through my anxiety. And it manifests through the stomach. And if you notice here a link, quite literally, in the stomach area, in the belly button, that's where the astral cord comes from. So basically, your physical body and your etheric body has a link so that you can return to the physical plane. You're supposed to, because it's not your time to die yet, unless that cord is cut off. However, that's a whole different can of worms. That's when you pass on. So some people may be more sensitive in that area, some people don't. But to summarize, in a nutshell, it comes back down to vibes, so to speak, like energy. And I know it's kind of woo woo here, but it comes down to energy. Yes, intuition.
Okay, next question from our audience for you. Aaron is asking, Zeta, do you listen to anything to help you project?
No, I do not. To be honest, those binaural beats creep me out. I know that there's a lot of videos out there to help you astral project. I've never believed in those. I just feel such a weird energy from them that I just prefer to be with my own energy and with my own thoughts. However, I can use some of them for meditation purposes, but not often. I tend to stay away. The energy in some of them does not feel clean. It feels like I am being shut down. So I rather stay away.
Understandable. All right, let's move on to the next question from our audience, it's Wonder Woman, who is asking, have you ever had someone with you when you were abducted?
No, you know why? Because from what I recall, my experiences have not been physical, but I do not remember my childhood if they were. Because this goes back to my childhood. Apparently, in the hypnosis session, it came through that the contact was more consistent, physical, when I was a kid. It was a 2-hour session. However, it extended to almost 4 hours because the Zeta Greys that were involved did not want to let me go to move on because they wanted to share most of the information that they have been waiting for me to find out eventually.
Okay. That's interesting because most of my abductions that I've had personally, and I think I can recall 5 or 6, there's only been once when I have seen other people. Only once. And that was scary when you look around and you see faces of zombie-like people all around you.
Yes. I have not experienced that from what I can recall. Again, my memories are still blocked. I know that there is a lot to figure out. That 4-hour session wasn't enough, actually, and it's been 4 years. It was a month before you interviewed me for the first time, actually. There is a lot to find out, and there is still a lot of questions that even after 10 years, I haven't had any answers, unfortunately.
Do you find that frustrating that every time you have an experience, the amount of questions grows exponentially, whereas the amount of answers you get are rarely answered?
Yes, that has been my case, and I am sure that for many people who are experiencers as well, they probably have the same struggle. However, I have come to notice that, well, I'll speak from my experience. The benevolent draconians that I am in contact with, they act as my guides. They are not involved in like either destroying or saving the planet Earth. In fact, they are not even here in this area. They are in a whole entirely different place that probably hasn't even been discovered yet by our own scientific field, so to speak. And I'm sorry if that's not the correct word. I can't English tonight. They act as my guides. And because of this, they spoon feed me certain information because they know that I am the easily impressionable one. And so they try to take it as baby steps, so to speak, to make sure that I am prepared to receive the information. Usually, when they send information, they also send their energy to open up my clairvoyant field and, of course, my psychic senses. So when this happens, they have to do it in small quantities because they don't want to overwhelm the system. It's like trying to fit the ocean in a bottle. It's not going to work. So you have to do it drop by drop. And even then, there is a limit to that bottle, regardless. So to answer the question, which I lost track of, I guess to summarize this point is they act as guides, but they don't tell me everything because they don't want me to rely on them all the time. They want me to be independent and to live my life on Earth.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You know, for those who have had contact, they'll be like, good on you for saying that. We totally understand. But there is an entire crowd out there that may not be able to comprehend the exact meaning of what that's all about. I mean, the immediate words is, well, why wouldn't they, give you the answers to the, the basics of life that we seem to struggle with? Why wouldn't they give you the knowledge? Why wouldn't they give you food? Why wouldn't they give you free energy? Why would they, not give you the
Why
lottery?
won't they save planet Earth?
Exactly.
That's the question that I get a lot. And to answer Jill, yes, I'm reading everyone. The aliens or ETs, however you want to call them. How can I answer this? If they wanted to, they could have destroyed us already a long time ago, first of all. Second of all, I do not think, and again, this is a personal opinion. It's okay if everybody disagrees. I'm not here to convince anyone. However, I do not think that it is their problem to solve our problems. Why? Because they're not from here. We are the ones who live here. We are the ones who got ourselves into trouble. Well, some of us. So we should be the ones as a species to solve our own problems that we created. I know that they have the technology. I know that they could intervene. However, I do not think that it is their problem to do so and do the job for us. That's why we are here on the first place.
Okay. So in going to your ET contact that you have, how often is it happening for you?
Not any longer.
They've shut you down.
Yes. Back in the day, contact was more often through dreams, lucid dreams. Again, there's a lot of people ask me, what's the difference between a lucid dream and a dream? A lucid dream is when you are conscious that you're dreaming. A dream, a normal one, is when you are peeing yourself and you don't find the bathroom and you're naked suddenly. And you are not aware that this is all fake. So that's the difference between a lucid dream, you're aware, and a normal dream, you're not. So they tend to show up a lot back in the day, but no longer. Back in the day, they would guide me through certain challenges and obstacles. They would warn me against certain connections and friendships, especially a lot of group dramas among the UFO communities. But after some years, they started to back off. One reason, it's because I should live my life on Earth without their intervention. And second, there really is no emergency for them to communicate with me.
A lot of people get shut down. I've been shut down. Many others have been shut down. And we don't understand why all of a sudden that light switch, being a contactee regularly, all of a sudden just ends. For a lot of people, myself included, I feel uncomfortable with that. Like, you shove yourself in my life, you make sweet love to me all night long, and then all of a sudden you dump me in the morning like a cheap one-night stand. We'll get to that answer when we come back on the break. Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, talking aliens all night long. ZionZeta.com is the website. We'll be back with more Space Out Radio right after this. It is a good question, though.
Oh, it is. It is fascinating. I've been reading the chat what I can because it can move a little bit quick for me.
It's quick. It's quick. So
yeah,
I got it here, but we got to remember that question coming back because sometimes I forget the question coming back.
Oh, oh my goodness, 404 burgers. I freaking love. You know what? I have high cholesterol. I can't eat burgers or anything greasy anymore, but I tried Five Guys and that was the greasiest burger that I had and I loved it. However, it's so expensive
it is
that I'm never going to get it again.
Oh, I used to eat Five Guys burgers all the time. All the time. We have this little burger shop here called GBR, which is the Great Burger Revolution. And these are like gourmet burgers that literally you pick them up and the grease is dripping off of them and it's all fresh vegetables and they're huge and massive and I'm going to have one for lunch tomorrow and I'm already frothing at the mouth over it. And no, you can't. I'm not sharing. I'm going to tell all you jerks out there, I am not sharing that burger. I am not. Anyways,
me neither.
Nope. And I'm going to get a poutine with it and a couple of iced teas just to hammer it down. Oh, there she is. The gorgeous and talented Miss Vegas herself. Heather, how are you, beautiful? I missed you. Anyways, where are we? Burgers, yes. I want that burger. I'm going to polish down that burger, and I might even take a picture and put it on the Instagram tomorrow just to rub it all in that I am going to pound that fucking burger back with no remorse.
No.
With no remorse, I am going to hammer that burger, and that burger is going to be treated terribly and horribly, and I can't wait. I'm pumped up for it. Pumped up.
What a way to tease me at 1:30 in the morning, Dave. Wow.
Well, you're the one with high cholesterol. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you, and I'm doing it for everybody. And I'm going to pound that burger, and it's going to go down just absolutely fantastically. And, yes, I will get a picture of it tomorrow. And, yeah, I'm in. I'm in. Long Island Bigfoot, thank you so much again for the super chat, man. Appreciate that. Thank you. Love the support. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. What the hell is a poutine? It is gravy. It's French fries with gravy and cheese curds. And it is heavenly.
That's what it is?
Yeah, poutine. Yeah.
I thought it was a bag, like a carrying bag.
No, poutine is
stuff in it.
Yeah, poutine is the French fries with gravy and cheese curds. Now, if you want to get real rebellious, they have a butter chicken poutine. So that is French fries covered in butter chicken sauce with chicken and cheese curds. It is heavenly. Heavenly. Yeah.
By the way, Dave, what is Boxing Day in Canada?
It is okay. I just looked this up because, believe it or not, it's a day. It's a day after Christmas that we get off. Okay, but it's like All Saints Day, I believe. Hold on, let me check. What is Boxing Day? Excuse me. What is Boxing Day? It is, oh, that's wrong. God damn it. What is Boxing Day? I'm trying to get the proper meaning. I believe it's All Saints Day. Boxing Day is a holiday celebrated the day after Christmas, thus being the second day of Christmas tide. It originated in the United Kingdom and is celebrated in a number of countries. Yeah. See, you got to be part of the Commonwealth, except you traders down south, when you decided to have your coup attempt that was successful, You lost a day off after Christmas. And, oh, hey, let's remember this, America. You only have 1 week to get your battle gear ready for Black Friday. I want punching. I want kicking. I want eye gouging. I want tinfoil on the knuckles. I want it. I want it. You bring it, America. Bring it. Okay? Remember, do not hold your phones straight up. Turn them to the side so we get a proper
high
view.
Quality.
Okay? Do it right, America. No bullshit here. We got to start kicking some ass. Okay? Start your preparations right now. 5 seconds before we're going on air here on the show. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, make sure you check out our free archives. So we go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue our awesome conversation with Zion Zeta tonight. We are talking aliens all night long. ZionZeta.com, where you can find her book, which is called Connecting the Stars, her story about being in connection with ET. Zion, welcome back.
Hey, Dave. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here. And again, I'm having a lot of fun with all of you guys tonight.
Well, we are glad you are here too, my beautiful friend. We were talking right before the break about how they just seem to shut off contact with everybody. And this is what I'm concerned with. It's almost like, being left at the altar, being a cheap one-night stand or whatever, and you're not prepared for it. And here you are with this full range of emotions, because these ETs, they come in whether they like it or not, okay? They either befriend you or use you for some sort of science experiment. Then they come in, and all of a sudden, as you slowly start to understand what is going on, for many people who are experiencers out there, myself included, they seem to just turn the switch off, and boom, they're gone. What do you make of that?
I think I have two perspectives in regards to that. First, the first perspective is that they give you enough information for you to be aware of who you are and your purpose and what you came here to do. So they leave you alone so that you can fend off for yourself, because that was their time limit. And then you should figure out the rest on your own. Why? Because you will be more prepared to receive the information on your own rather than having it spoon-fed to you. Usually they do that in the beginning to help you understand some things, to prepare you, but then it's like growing up and then getting kicked out. Okay, get a job, move out. Bye. And the second perspective could be that, again, they don't want to be so involved in your life anymore so that you do not become overly codependent on them. And I've seen this happen a lot, especially with some people that try psychedelics for spiritual advancement, but they go down the spiral. And so they become codependent on psychedelics because they think that that is the only way for them to communicate with their guides, with their star family, with everyone. And that is not the way. And accidental reference, that is not the way. You can communicate with your guides, star family, passed on loved ones on your own. You don't need psychedelics to do any of that. But I know that this is a hot topic for a lot of people. Some people agree, some people don't. However, again, it comes back to being your own sovereign self and being reliant on yourself. And this is why I think they retreat as well, so that we learn how to be independent and search for the truth and the answers on our own. And I know this answer kind of sounds vague, but honestly, it is vague because they come in, take you, do whatever they want with you, or show you whatever they want, and then they leave. So it's unfortunately a very vague situation.
Do we know why they shut us down, or are they just allowing us time to heal before coming back?
I would say it's both, depending on the person and the situation. Sometimes they give you things to process, and then they leave so that you do the inner work. And sometimes you are prepared, they give you the information, and then they dip out because they're like, okay, she's got it. Let's leave her alone. She'll figure it out. We're good. If she needs something or gets super stuck, we might come by and give her a helping hand, but that's it. She's got to figure out the rest on her own. So it depends on the person and the situation.
For you, do you think they're coming back, or are you done?
Oh no, I am sure they will come back because they have. There's been certain time lapses, question mark, where I haven't had contact with them. One time it went up for an entire year. For example, 2018. I was a whole year without really, well, no, wait, that was 2017. 2017 was a whole year that I didn't have contact with them, but it was because I pushed them out because I was in love, and that destroyed everything. I wasn't focusing on them. I was ignoring them. They were giving me warnings about this person. I wasn't listening to them. I shut them down, and so they decided to leave. And then everything came crashing down, not even like 2 months later after their final warning. And I spent that whole year healing from narcissistic stuff, to put it simply and shortly.
Okay. So
yes.
When you were having visits from these extraterrestrials, did they take you off planet?
I feel that they have done that, but a really long time ago. Now, whether they have done it physically or not, that is the biggest question. I do have the feeling that they used to take me physically as a kid. However, as a teenager and adult, I don't recall being taken physically, except for that one random gray alien abduction in 2009 that I still have questions about, even though I don't remember, and a psychic answered me without them knowing. I do still have questions about a lot of things, including if I've had physical contact in recent years or not. But in the meantime, it's all been through astral interactions and lucid dreams, kind of like premonitions.
Okay, so in reality, you've never been taken physically. You've only been taken on a spiritual aspect.
That I am aware of, yes. Yes, that is a big question, yes.
So have the MyLabs stopped for you as well?
They did stop as soon as they started to practice psychic protection, and this is where the benevolent draconians stepped in. As you can all see with the book cover that is right now over YouTube, you are all seeing the general. The general is more like a fatherly figure to me because at a spiritual level, he is my father in a sense. However, I do have, quote unquote, a sibling named Charlie, which I will show him in my upcoming second book, Connecting the Stars to Illustrations of a Contactee. Charlie was the one who for 2 years tried to get me into using psychic protection, helping me and protecting me from psychic attacks, not only from other people, but from energies as well. So I never listened to him. I thought that he was full of poop, So I didn't want to pay attention to him. I didn't trust him. I didn't trust the general. I didn't trust any of them. I thought that they were evil simply because of their appearance. Why? Simply over some forum posts on the internet. That was it. Because they never did anything to me. So, in a nutshell, the My Labs stopped when I started to use psychic protection and shielding my energy and not giving in to fear. That is something very important that they highlighted a lot back in the day. And when I asked them why, they started to explain to me that fear was like a leech. It sucks you dry. And let's picture all a light bulb with a leech on top of it. So the leech is absorbing the light coming from this light bulb, right? So if we take it in a more literal sense, you are having your energy absorbed by fear. So when this happens, what happens? The light will dim until it goes out. What happens when it goes out? You are exposed. And metaphorically speaking, of course. When the light goes off, of course, you will attract all sorts of things because you are no longer the light. So that's why they insisted work on your fear. The fear comes from the mind. So work on your mindset and switch those program patterns that make you fear this and that, including us. And so when I started to do the work, the My Labs stopped.
That just seems a little ironic because from what I have heard from the My Labs is they don't just stop because you block them. They stop when they feel that they've extricated enough information or intel out of you or threaten you to the point where you don't go down the alien road anymore.
I have heard that perspective as well. However, my case has been very different. However, if I may add, it could be that they got the information that they needed. That's in a sense why I'm just going to call them the Draconian crew for easier reference. That's why they would retreat whenever I would see black helicopters. Because whenever they would show up, it would trigger the black helicopters in my area in Puerto Rico and later on in the United States from 2012 onwards that we moved back again. So I would notice this distancing from them. And it was because I was either having My Labs in the dream state or seeing black helicopters or black vans parked outside my window with the glass tinted, and which is to the point of being illegal because you could not see not even nothing in those vans. And it eventually stopped. So I think that maybe they got the information that they needed, even though the Draconian crew retreated to not put me at risk. But that is another question mark that I still have.
What about your experience with Men in Black? What happened there?
Oh boy, that was, I believe it was between 2010, 2011, question mark, that I was back in Puerto Rico. I was 2 hours away from home on the doctor with my family. And so when we are walking out, we were waiting for the cars to cross so that we can cross this small place where cars park to drop people off to go onwards towards the parking lot. However, there's a long way for you to walk through. There's a fountain and some feel like a mini park before you cross and reach the parking lot. So we are here waiting for the cars to drop people off so that we can cross. So there is this black car behind a red Porsche, if I am not mistaken, if my memory doesn't fail me. And there are two men in black outside this car, both of them leaning against the front doors of the car. One of them, the one on the right side of the car, has the front door open and is leaning over it. And he is looking at me. He had sunglasses, if I am not mistaken, black hair, sleek back, but short. And the other one was leaning against the driver's seat door, talking over the phone. I couldn't hear a conversation or anything at all. However, I found it very, very intriguing to see that their skin tone wasn't even fair. It had a slight gray tint or tinge to it, which was very impressive because they seemed to be sicklish. They looked healthy, but their skin tone was not. It was the most unnatural thing I've ever seen, especially in Puerto Rico, which is hot all year. Goodness gracious. We're talking about 80 degrees even during the nights. Super rare when you get 70 degrees. I know that you guys go by Celsius, so that's like what, 30 Celsius, 20 something Celsius.
What Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit between 70 to 80 degrees.
Okay,
rarely
so that's about
70 in the night.
Yeah, that's about 19 Celsius to about 30 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so in Puerto Rico, it's impossible to be so fair skin, because obviously it's a tropical island. So it was surprising to see their grayish skin. And so I knew that something was wrong, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But I tried to ignore it until I started to cross the road with my family and head towards a car. So when I looked back, I could see them that they were following me with their gaze, and they were both glaring at me. This was when I had a clear view of the second man in black. And they both had the same face. They looked exactly alike. It was impressive. The same hairstyle, the sunglasses, the same suits, shiny black shoes, no dust or anything. It was impressive. And so as I head towards the car with my family, and briefly looking back at them, I do get this impression in the center of my forehead. And this only happens when an ET energy wants to communicate with me telepathically. And so I heard, but it wasn't my own thoughts. It felt external. Shut up or there will be consequences. And so I looked back again with a glare at them, and I was staring at them defiantly. I was like, what, 17 or 18 at the time. So at the time, I was quite immature. And I was like, in my head, like, you know what? You guys don't scare me, and you guys will not shut me up. My family started wondering, what are you staring at? So I'm like, oh, nothing. It's nothing. Forget about it. We hopped into the car and we left. But that was the only encounter that I had, physically speaking, with the man in black.
What do you think they wanted from you? Were they the human ones? Were they the alien ones?
That is the million-dollar question, Dave. A lot of people wonder, are they human or non-human? I would say it depends. But second, I feel that in my case, they wanted to intimidate me into silence. Due to my age, they probably thought that I was easily impressionable and easy to intimidate. So I have no doubt that they simply wanted to intimidate me, and that's it.
Okay, but were there any sense of whether they were government men in black or extraterrestrial?
You know, it felt extraterrestrial due to that impression that I had in my forehead. But at the same time, they felt that they worked for the government.
Could you see their facial features?
Oh, yes, I did, because there was a red car right in front of me, and so they are right behind this black car. It looked like a Crown Victoria, ? Black one. Not sure about the brand. And I could see their facial details. At least the one that was standing on the right side. Both of them had cleanly shaven faces, wide chins. Like, their faces were wide, the chins were sharp, not pointy though, flat chins. However, they were wearing sunglasses, so I couldn't really see their eyes, but their eyebrows were neat and their hairs were brushed back with gel. So they looked very, very, very fancy, as if they were going to go to a party or something.
Okay, so this leads to Ken's question. Have you ever then had any encounters with black-eyed kids, black-eyed people? Was there any paranormal activity that followed?
Not physically speaking, but in dreams I have encounters with black-eyed children, which, in my impression, in my case, I would consider them to be hybrid children. And typically they would be in the company of the shadow military. I am speaking about the hidden faction within the military within the US, where these hybrids were in military bases being held captive by these people. And they would never talk to me, they would never really say anything to me. Some of them I could recognize in different occasions. And it was always a very heartbreaking moment to be so helpless and not be able to do anything for them. All I could do was simply see them in my dreams, and that's it. I did not know where they were, how to get there, how to help, what were they going to go through. So I guess I have, but back in the day, I'm talking about 8-9 years ago.
Do you think that the Men in Black or the government agencies were following you or following the aliens?
I believe they were following the information that the aliens were giving to me, because I'm nothing special. I don't consider myself to be anything special. I'm just a normal human winging my existence on Earth, figuring things out. I don't think that I have something that can benefit them, unless you can count car readings, but I don't think that's it. But that's why the Draconian crew would retreat, because whenever they would pop in, the black helicopters would show up. So they were after the information. And this is why, in a way, I believe the Draconian crew, don't really tell me a lot of stuff, simply out of my safety. I think that's probably the reason why, and why they sometimes go for long periods of time without talking to me, because I may be, quote unquote, at risk. I'm not sure what type of risk. I have not received direct death threats. Everything has been online. So nothing face to face. So I'm not really too worried about that part. However, I do believe there is a reason why they only show up if it is an emergency.
Right. Okay. So as we got about a minute and a bit to go here before we go to break at the top of the hour, Zion, with the fact that you think that they're kind of more tracking the aliens rather than you, would they be looking to use you as a conduit then?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, because they want what they don't have. And if they are seeking trained people that can be psychics, that can read energy, that can have out-of-body experiences. Project Stargate from the CIA, if I am not mistaken. I believe that they looked into this, not astral projection, but I may be mistaken, but they did look into remote viewing. And so the results were vague. So they were inconclusive, if I am not mistaken. So they are definitely after people who can read energy, tune into energy, get visions. Even if you only experience ghosts, they want that. They want to know, to mimic that, and see if they can replicate that with their technology.
Well, we have you for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio, as we are going to go to the break at the top of the hour. Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on the show, and we are very much looking forward to the final half hour here, as it's already, I can't believe it's 2 hours in already. Cannot believe we are 2 hours in with this young lady. ZionZeta.com. You can get her book, on her website, Connecting the Stars, her lifelong experiences with extraterrestrials. We'll continue the alien talk as we have a woo-filled show tonight on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we are clear. I'm just going to run
Dave, the hours have gone by very quickly.
Hugely. I'm just going to run my dogs outside again. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Their listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Tribe and Tribe Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Tribe Charities, just go to tribecharities.org/donate.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes
All right.
to
Old
everything
Davy's back.
strange and paranormal.
Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Chat room is flying.
I know, right? I've been trying to catch up with
I
them, but
know.
it's hard.
I know. Welcome back, Cat Chaser. Britt Bennett, welcome to our chat room. Thank you for joining us. You're looking lovely and talented tonight. Jason F., welcome. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you, man. And don't forget, if you're new, to hit subscribe to our channel, because we are here every Monday through Friday. Human Carl is here, everyone. Human Carl. Not to be mixed up with Alien Carl. Or,
oh.
Yeah. Yeah. We never want to confuse him. That's why we call him Human Carl around here. He's one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show. Human Carl, everyone. Human Carl. We love him. I know he's bowing right now because he normally does. Doff your cap, Human Carl. Doff your cap.
Hey, clap.
All right. We got less than a minute here. Cat Chaser, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Love you. All right. I'm going to take a little sip here. All right. Big thank you to Cat Chaser, Long Island Bigfoot, Alaska's greatest athlete, Ladybug Bigelow, Zen Master Me, and Long Island Bigfoot again for the super chats tonight. Thank you to everybody who has hit subscribe and given us a thumbs up or down to this show. We appreciate you, and you keep helping us grow. You keep helping us get bigger. Remember, we are on a goal here. By the end of the year, we want 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We're less than 700 away, so help us out. Help us reach that mark. We would appreciate it. Here we go with hour 3.
If you'd like to connect with us, head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. I want to remind each and every one of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. We say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Where are you, Clam? There you are. Brachycatalectic. Brachycatalectic is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Zion Zeta. Her website, zionzeta.com. You can find her book, which is called Connecting the Stars. It's right there. It's all about her lifelong experiences with extraterrestrials, men in black, black helicopters, you name it. She's gone through it. Young lady, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. I have been enjoying my time with you tonight, and I want to thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. We are very lucky to have you here to join us, and thank you for the vast amounts of woo that you have brought to this show. We appreciate that. We really do.
Oh, baby, I am out of this world, and you know it.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. It's amazing. You know, when you look at yourself, how would you describe yourself? Do you describe yourself as an abductee, a contactee? How would you look at yourself?
You know, I used to identify with those tags, question mark, back in the day, because we all look to identify ourselves with something. Mostly, I would say that I am a starseed, meaning that I believe that the family that I have right now is not really my family in the spiritual sense. I may have had past lifetimes with them, but I know that once I die, I will not be with them. I will go elsewhere, back to the stars, so to speak. But in a nutshell, I would say that I am most of all human. trying to figure out my way out of my student loans, finding my way into a normal job, and have a normal life as a human on this planet. So I don't really go by labels. I feel that they are limiting compared to all the things that have happened to me, and I'm sure for other people as well.
Okay, so the fact that you consider yourself of some sort of extraterrestrial descent, are you Draconian? Are you Arcturian? Are you Pleiadian? Are you Anunnaki? What do you consider yourself?
I would say, Dave, that I would consider myself Draconian because those are the ones I've had most contact with, even though I rejected them due to my internalized intergalactic racism against them. Oh no, they're bad because they look scary. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna die. I would say that they are my core family or soul family, so to speak. I know this sounds absolutely nuts to other people out there, but I identify myself as someone who has a family, but for a brief time in this whole existence on planet Earth. And I'm not limited to the life that I am currently living in. And I'm sure that once I pass on, I will return to my real self.
What is your real self?
I would say I am nothing and everything because energy is unlimited. Energy can be anywhere and go anywhere. But I think that my energy has an origin, and I believe that it goes back to the Draconians.
Okay, so if we're looking up in the stars, where are we looking? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm not an expert in that area, Dave. You just absolutely pinned me down.
Well,
I just learned where the sun was located, where it would set a couple of years ago. With that, I tell you everything.
well, I mean, the sun usually sets in the west.
Exactly. And when I'm looking for directions, I have to look, oh crap, where is the sun? Oh, okay, if the sun is here, then that's the north. I still have trouble with that.
Makes sense. Some people do. Some people do. Let's take a look at with your experiences that you were having and the fact that you haven't had any experiences recently. I would like to know, when was your last experience?
In January of this year, I believe. It's been a long time. And typically, I don't go through these long times of no contact with them. So I feel that the reason why it's because there is nothing relevant for me to know or do in this moment, except to work on my second book.
Okay, so the fact that you haven't had contact since January, that's not that far along, but if that contact was happening at a regular basis, I could see where you would be kind of struggling with the fact that your experiences for right now have kind of shut down. So with that being said, are you able to contact the beings and just say, hey, where the hell have you been? Why haven't you been, coming around?
You know what, Dave? I have not tried that. And even my own mother has made me that question. Why don't you try to astral project like how you used to back in the day? And my answer to that is I don't think I would be able to do this again. So I think that there might be a mental blockage in there due to, again, program patterns from external sources that make me believe that I am not good enough, that I can't do this or that, blah, blah, blah. In the end, the mind is what limits you from doing or not doing something. And I know that sounds very Yoda-like, but it's cliche, I know. But in the end, when you think about it, it makes sense. A lot of people are self-conscious, for example, of going to the gym because, oh my goodness, what will people think? Again, it's the mind. A lot of things could be prevented if only we get the mind out of the way and control that fear that is dimming our light.
Okay, you're going to have to go into detail about that because that sounds a little odd.
Well, I love spiritual development topics and lifestyle and self-development, of course. So a lot of the teachings that I have read online have spoken about the importance of working on your mind and being aware of your thoughts and catching yourself once you are spiraling down. Catch yourself in that moment and say, no, I have control of my mind. My mind does not control me. And eliminate that thought, replace it with a positive one. And I know this is hard with people with depression or suicidal thoughts. In that area, I'm not trained because I'm not a psychiatrist or a counselor at all. But I would suggest that you get the necessary help that you need. However, many of the things, opportunities that we miss, and the things that we want to do come back down on whether to do or not do due to the mind and how it thinks, due to program patterns that you already have, due to stories that you have told yourself because others have told themselves the same story that you are now telling yourself. And that includes your family. If your mother thought that she wasn't good enough to do something, get a degree or do this or that, you will internalize that and tell yourself this. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this or that. I've seen it happen. That's the proof. My mother is the proof. So it comes down to program patterns in your mind that you have to deprogram from by catching yourself in the act and detangling it and changing it and replacing it. And it takes a lot of work. It's easier said than done.
Is it reprogramming the way you live or the habits you have formed?
Both. We can have living program patterns that can be toxic, that can be drinking or using psychedelics or living in a toxic environment, and also the mental aspect of things, which is the stories that you tell yourself. Especially when you are down, you tend to beat yourself up even more than you already are and feel. So I would say both can go hand in hand. Some people may have an area more program patterns in one area. Other people may have it in another area of their life. But I would say they can be related.
How is this?
And I'm not.
Okay, please.
I'm not married.
How has this entire experience affected your own intuition?
It was super distracting, super disorienting because the New Age community taught me to not use my logical side, to not think or analyze things, to follow your intuition, and that's it. However, I feel that this is irresponsible because you are supposed to analyze things. You can feel good about buying a house, but have you analyzed the taxes? Have you analyzed the price? Have you analyzed the area that you're going to live in? No, you can't just move in there without knowing. You have to analyze and investigate. Unfortunately, the New Age community teaches you to leave that aside. They think that the mind is the ego, but to me, they are two different things that are not related to each other, but can be tied up if there is an imbalance between intuition and logic, to the point that you block out your intuition and you don't know how to feel.
I think Gil in the chat room has fallen in love with you. Just saying that.
I'm not surprised.
There you go, Gil. There you go. See, look, if you haven't been in our chat room before on YouTube or one of the other chat rooms that we have, you can fall in love with our guests too and chat with them right there and tell them, and we'll just tell you, what it's all about.
Can someone pour an ice bucket onto him, please? Thank you.
Oh, Yeah, he's fist pumping now. He's totally fist pumping now. Zion Zeta is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, and we have about just under 10 minutes left with you tonight. I want to ask in regards to the contact that you've had and that now you're not having. Do you miss it?
Oh, I do. Because the contact would be unexpected. So it would happen once or twice a week, every 2 weeks. But then it started to change 2 times or 3 per month. And so regardless, even though there were like these empty gaps on the way, it was still exciting to be like, oh, hey, maybe I'll be surprised tonight out of nowhere. And sometimes I would be right, sometimes not. Typically, though, the messages that they would give me would be about people. You have to be careful with this person. I would ask why. Oh, you'll find out. Just watch out. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep my eyes peeled. And it would come true. And it happened with 3 to 4 people in a short amount of time. And so this is how I learned to discern my intuition from my logical brain. Because my logical brain would tell me, oh, they haven't done anything. But my intuition would be like, I'm going to keep an eye out just in case, or vice versa. I would feel good about the person. This is why, again, I say that both intuition and logic are very important, because even your intuition can trick you as well. And sometimes I would feel good about a person. Oh, I have good vibes about this guy. He looks nice and blah, blah, blah. And then they would pop in, no, young lady, keep your eyes peeled because this guy is no bueno. And I would be disappointed and heartbroken. And I would be like, okay, I'll keep an eye out. And eventually something would happen that I would find out who this person was. So it's interesting to unite and combine intuition and logic. This is why I say to everyone that's listening, balance both. Do not neglect or abandon or deny either one. And yes, people wear masks as well. This is not just limited to ETs, because I know a lot of people are concerned about how do you know if a reptilian is good or bad, or a gray or a Pleiadian. Pleiadians can be bad, mind you. In a nutshell, I'm not going to get into it, but I have had my fair share of negative Pleiadians. And again, it comes back down to intuition and logic to discern an ET and a human. I hope that answered the question that I lost track of.
No, works for me. Works for me. Okay, so considering that that you haven't had contact in about 10 months, do you get when they come around, do you know when they're going to come around? Do they give you any sort of sign, any sort of music, any sort of anxiety?
No, not at all. They show up out of nowhere by surprise, and it's interesting because I should know this because I am connected to them. I have this link, this bond with them. And yet I still get caught by surprise, probably for that same reason of becoming attached to them. That is why they don't tell me or give me any impressions of when they're going to show up, because it's going to be quick, like, oh, here's this, we're out, and that's it. So that's all I can really tell you.
Awesome. Okay, so if you don't get any signs, how do you tell the difference between who is coming and who is not? Like, can you tell the difference between, say, the Draconians and the Pleiadians, or the MyLabs versus the Greys?
Typically, if it's a low vibrational energy, Dave, I feel closed off. In the experience, not physically. During a dream or astral projection, I would feel closed off. Whether I see them or not, if I am briefly alone for a second, I would scan the area. Like, my intuition can read the energy in the area, and I would feel immediately whether this is a familiar environment or this is an unfamiliar territory with people that I don't know and I don't like. Typically, again, it comes back down to your intuition, and the mind comes in analyzing the surroundings. And that's how I tend to conclude who is whom and which one is which. Typically, with my Draconian crew, I feel like my chest feels open, like my heart feels open. I feel liberated. I feel free. I feel comfortable. I feel home. I feel that I am reuniting with family that I haven't seen in a long time. So with them, it's very different to the military abductions or negative entities that may fall in the Pleiadian category, mantis or greys, reptilians. But it's really rare at this point, Dave, that I get negative entities coming into my energetic field.
How is the spirit world in your energetic field?
I tune out of it. I don't like to deal with spirits. And unfortunately, I have the luck that they contact me when they're going to pass on. And I'll give you 2 examples. I'll try to be as concise as I can. One of them is that one time I was in my computer working. My mother was in the kitchen blending some vegetables. And you know that those machines are really loud, right?
Yes.
However, in that situation, I hear 4 loud knocks on the front door that's next to my bedroom. Despite all the chaos going on in the kitchen, that's literally only 10 steps away from me. So I hear the knocks and I go running to open the door, thinking that it was the mailman. My mom was wondering why was I running towards the door. When I opened the door, nobody was there. In Puerto Rico, there is this theory, I would say, that when you hear a knocking and no one is there, it's that someone is going to die. So when I came back, I told my mother, and she was wondering, why did you open the door? Was it the mailman? And I'm like, no, it was 4 knocks and no one was there. Mind you, we live on a 3rd floor. I didn't take less than 5 seconds to open the door, and I didn't hear anyone going down the stairs. So I got chills when I closed the door and I went back to the kitchen. And I told my mom what happened, and she didn't hear the knocks on the door, even though she was closer than I was. And I was like, Mom, someone is going to die. So later that night, my brother calls her to tell her that his fiance's grandmother, who's got Alzheimer's, was on her final moments, but they did not know when she was going to pass on. So when I was told that later on in the night, I started to think back on it and I wondered, that was a Tuesday. So I made the realization she is going to pass away on Saturday. That would be the 4th day. And I heard 4 knocks, so it's going to be on 4 days. What happens? Saturday arrives, I wake up, and I got told that she passed on at 5 in the morning. And of course, I freaked out. I cried. I did not know her because she lives in Ohio or used to live in Ohio. I never got to meet her, but I was crying my eyes out because it was such a frightening moment that I experienced. And I was so mad, Dave. I was so mad. I was like, why do you guys give me these things? Why do you tell me this if I can't do anything, if I don't know who the person is? I don't get it. It was a really, really frustrating day for me.
I bet. My friend, it is that time for us to say goodnight to you because we have flown on by. Our time is running out. Do me a favor. Tell everybody where they can find your book.
So everybody, if you are interested, you can read 7 random chapters for free on my website, zionzeta.com/ebook. If you want to get a taste of my work and how I write, and if you like the content, I also have other free ebooks. Just go to zionzeta.com/freebies so you can download other ebooks that I have turned into written content based on podcast series as well. So just visit me on my website, zionzeta.com, and you can check out all that I have available.
Awesome.
And Dave, thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Thank you again. Zion Zeta, everyone. ZionZeta.com. Coming up on Spaced Out Radio, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned as we look to turn the corner and take this show home. Watch the chat room. Watch this. Zion Zeta, everybody. Zion Zeta. Good show. Solid show.
Thank you so much, Dave, and the chat, of course, everybody for supporting me, for hanging out in the chat so late. I don't know where all of you guys are from and watching me from and, well, listening to me from, but it was super fun to have all of you guys in here, and I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. I know that there were a lot of them, but it was super fun, Dave, to be here with you and your audience as well.
We'll make sure we don't make it 4 years in between. How about that?
I agree. Okay.
Look at the chat room. Look at the chat room. All the clapping for you.
Oh, thank you guys so
and then
much.
there's Gil. Then there's Gil right in the middle. I love you.
Gil is a thirsty boy, isn't he?
I think Gil wants a date with you. He wants a date.
I'm not accepting applications, by the way.
Well, Gil, we will, just accept Gil's resume. Submit a resume to us, Gil. We'll get it over to Zion. And then what we can do is when she's ready for a hiring process, we'll get you an interview.
I've been reading the comments, Dave, and I was laughing and muting myself so you couldn't hear me.
Send us your resume, Gil. Make sure it looks good. We'll need a cover letter and 5 references.
I'm not accepting applications, so they're going to get lost.
That's all right. I'll hold on to the resume. When you're ready.
Dave, are you trying to pair me up?
No. I'm just saying, eventually, if you one day you might be ready, and then all of a sudden, old Gil will be right there. I heard he has a 401k.
What does that mean?
Retirement package.
That's how clueless I am about life, guys.
Oh. Anyways, thank you, my dear, for having some fun with us. I really appreciate you.
No problem, Dave. I had a lot of fun with you tonight and the chat, of course.
Good.
The chats are always a blast.
All right. Take care, my dear.
All right, Dave. Have a good night. Sweet dreams. And enjoy your weekend and chat as well.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
How awesome is that? Oh, poor Gil. Poor Gil. I tried, Gil. I tried. Okay? I tried. All right. Let's see here. Hi, gorgeous Teresa. You were looking lovely tonight. I'll throw you a big hug. There you go. Big hug for Teresa. And Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. In other words, Bigfoot guy. How you doing, Bren? Good to have you here. And, yeah. Oh. We love you too, Gil. Babster, we better take Gil out for a cream soda after this one. Yeah. Gil's going to give a Google review on Zion Zeta. Great website, great interview, great book. However, she's not accepting resumes, so it's only 4 stars now. I can see it. Going to break Zion's heart. 4 stars out of 5 on a Google review. We got 90 seconds. Winter Sky, how are you? Welcome to our chat room. I tell you, if you ever have the possibility of a sore throat starting up, Fisherman's Friends, man. They are the best. Cherry flavored? Oh my God. Totally take away your sore throat. Uh-huh. 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 1 minute here. Thank you for the super chats, everyone. Fapster, Big Rob, Cat Chaser, Long Island Bigfoot ×2, Zen Master Me, and Alaska's Greatest Athlete, Ladybug Bigelow. I really appreciate the love from all of you and the support. It goes a long way, and thank you to everybody who is new listening tonight and hitting that subscribe button on our channel here on YouTube. And, of course, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you think we deserve. We appreciate that as well. We are trying to get 10,000 followers by the end of the year. And you know what? I had one of our listeners bring up this idea, and I think I'm going to go with it. I'm going to put a package together for our 10,000th follower. If we can hit 10,000 followers by the end of the year, I'm going to do a big package for number 10,000. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate you taking the time. If you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news. Is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the historic. Tell me, do you remember what happened on this date 42 years ago? This date, 42 years ago. You remember? Let me give you a hint. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Yes, WKRP in Cincinnati will forever have a special place in our hearts, but it's a Thanksgiving tradition now for everyone, thanks to the one classic episode which aired on this date in 1978. In just the 7th episode of the sitcom, radio newsman Les Nessman hilariously describes a promotional turkey drop the station was holding at a shopping mall. Nessman's account mirrors Herbert Morrison's eyewitness reporting of the Hindenburg disaster, and of course, the legendary clip by Mr. Carlson himself. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. How awesome is that? Killer whales are doing me a giant favor in the oceans around the world. In South Africa, according to reports, killer whales are now targeting great white sharks to eat their livers. Scientists think this could be the reason the sharks have seen a steep decline in the numbers over the past few years. The carcasses of at least 7 great white sharks have washed ashore in False Bay near the coast of Cape Town since 2017. All of the carcasses have teeth marks, which scientists say came from killer whales. Experts believe the whales are tearing into the sharks and ripping out their fatty, oily livers to tuck into. Great whites were once fairly common in the area and were a population attraction for tourists, but since 2017, there's been a massive drop in the number of sightings, with experts claiming it could be due to the numerous reasons, including illegal hunting and climate change. Now, a team of experts hired by the government have concluded there may be a link between the drop in shark numbers and the appearance of a pod of killer whales. South Africa's Minister of Environment, Barbara Creasy, commissioned a report into what is causing the drop-off in shark numbers in the area. which stated the disappearances of sharks was more likely a shift in distribution as a result of recent orca occurrence and predation, rather than being related to the fishing activity. Speaking at a conference, Creasy stated that the decline in great white sharks in the area has had a devastating impact on the shark diving industry and caused immense disappointment to the hundreds of tourists who visit our shores to see this great predator. For context, between 2010 and 2016, there were more than 200 great white sharks spotted per year in False Bay. Fast forward to 2018, there were just 50. 2019, none at all. In fact, the first sighting in 20 months was made in January of this year, and it's the only one so far for 2020. Speaking about the killer whale attacks, earlier this year, marine biologist Alison Towner, who helped perform autopsies on the washed-up carcasses, appeared on the Shark Talk YouTube channel where she revealed some grim details about the deaths. She explained just under the surface of the skin is the perfect place to open up the shark and access and extract the liver. She says, I think 2 of the animals had both the heart removed and one male had his testes removed. Oh my gosh, they castrated the great white because they are very close together in the body cavity. We think the 2 killer whales were learning to get a hold of pectoral fins. We don't know for sure. It's like a ripping motion. The liver, it's oily, very slippery. It would naturally slide out so it could come along and share it. Oh, wow. Wow. It's also happening in California, too. Sticking with the ocean, here's an awesome comeback. According to the news, blue whales have returned to the waters around the subantarctic island of South Georgia, once a huge whaling hub, after decades-long absence that many conservationists feared was permanent. This impressive resurgence has been documented through sightings, photos, and underwater recordings collected over the last 30 years. The promising findings of this hard work were recently published in a paper in the Journal of Endangered Species Research. The findings show that only one blue whale, the world's largest mammal, was sighted by scientists near South Georgia between 1998 and 2018. But then, in February 2020, scientists spotted 58 blue whales in the area and recorded the songs of dozens more. The continued absence of blue whales at South Georgia has been seen as an iconic example of a population that was locally exploited beyond the point where it could ever recover, lead study author Susanna Calderon said in a release, referring to the booming whaling industry in South Georgia that reportedly killed over 42,600 whales between 1904 and 1971. But over the past few years we've been working at South Georgia, we have become quite optimistic about the numbers of blue whales seen and heard around the island, which hadn't been happening until very recently. The return of the blue whale to the Antarctic waters might not have been as sudden as it seems. The paper notes that scientists have also relied on photos from tourists and sailors to keep track of blue whale sightings near South Georgia. One of the photos sent in saw 41 blue whales in South Georgia were photo identified between 2011 and 2020. 2020, a good year for the blue whales. That is an awesome, awesome story. How awesome are they? The fountain of youth may be made of air, not water. Scientists say they have successfully reversed the aging process of elderly people through oxygen therapy in a first-of-its-kind study. Researchers from Tel Aviv University used hyperbaric oxygen chambers to target specific cells and DNA linked to shorter lifespans and found the holy grail of staying young. During the study, researchers investigated whether the therapy, which involves breathing pure oxygen in a pressurized environment, could reverse the effects of aging in 35 people over the age of 64. Well, they placed elderly participants in the chamber for 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 3 months, and studied its impact on senescent cells, which are associated with tissue and organ deterioration. They also measured the length of each person's telomere, a molecule linked to premature cellular aging. Remarkably, scientists found that the participants' telomeres had enlarged by an average of 20%, while their senescent cells decreased by up to 37% by the end of the trial, the equivalent growing 25 years younger. I want this. Maybe I won't have gray hair after this. Then again, I've had gray hair since I was like 25. hopefully, I don't know. Now I'm hopeful. Anyways, while undergoing the sessions, participants did not change their lifestyles, diets, or medications, which have proven in the past to impact a person's biological age. The scientists, which included doctors from the Shamir Medical Center, believed the pressurized chamber triggered brief oxygen shortages, which caused cell regeneration. Until now, interventions such as lifestyle modifications and intense exercise were shown to have some inhibition effects on the expected telomere length shortening, said Dr. Amir Hadani, who co-authored the study. What is remarkable to note is on our study is that in just 3 months of therapy, we were able to achieve such significant telomere elongation at rates far beyond any of the current available interventions or lifestyle modifications. There's hope for us. Total hope. When hiking Alberta's summits, there's always a chance of encountering wildlife, but few expect to see a dinosaur on the trail. No need to be scared, though, because it's one of those hikers who thought it would be funny to wear a Tyrannosaurus Rex blow-up costume. Yeah, Richard Pastores, known as Dino Guy, real original Richard, has been finishing his hikes dressed in a T-Rex costume since 2017. What started as a prank with friends has now turned into a frequent activity to put a smile on people's faces. I just want everyone to be excited to go to the mountains, especially in Alberta, because they might be seeing a roaming dinosaur dancing, he said. And because of the popularity, it's led Pastores to dress up as Dino Guy for multiple fundraisers. So far, he has raised money through GoFundMe for Kids Cancer Care and Make-A-Wish Canada. He is currently working with the Calgary Food Bank, but carrying that costume up a summit isn't that easy. Pastores says that since the suit is inflatable and comes with a battery pack, it weighs up to 20 pounds. And I have all the other gear, which is my water, food, extra clothing, so my whole backpack weighs about 50 to 60 pounds. Since starting Dino Guy, Pastores has carried his costume to the top of 30 summits. Once complete, he snaps a picture or takes a video and sometimes even surprises families who are also on the hike. This family goes to his viewpoint, and a couple of kids screamed at their parents, "Mom, Dad, there's a dinosaur!" I came up to them, and it was just like the best moment in my life. He's also tried to do an entire hike in the dino costume, but says since it's difficult to see out of it, he's sticking to just putting it on at the top. Oh, typical Albertan. Weird. Here's an interesting one. This is for all you Lego kids. Who still has Lego out there from when they were their child? I do. I totally do. Yeah, well, in the 90s, when there were only 10 sets and you had to buy bulk bricks to do anything cool, things sure changed now. Harry Potter, Star Wars, Jurassic World, Marvel sets, and any decent movie franchise has some very fancy sets associated with it. But here's something really cool. The 5 most expensive Lego sets of all time. And I bet some of you had these and lost pieces to it. The 2007 Millennium Falcon. What's it valued at? $4,000. The 2000 Statue of Liberty. $3,500 for the 2,800-piece set that stands 3 feet tall when completed. The 2015 H.C. Anderson's Clumsy Hans. $2,000. This is a Lego gifted inside tour sets to people who visited their offices. They were unavailable to the public and produced in minimal runs, but also the set is not that cool. At least Millennium Falcon cool. There were less than 500 made. The 2008 Taj Mahal is ranked at $2,600 right now. The 2011 Shinkai Submarine, $800. Who had those? You could be cashing in. You better go find those pieces, including the ones you lost in the shag carpet. More than 500 years ago, a medieval soldier's dead body settled at the bottom of a Lithuanian lake, and for centuries, it's laid there hidden beneath the mud. But now, submerged remains have finally been found. The skeleton was discovered during an underwater inspection of the old Dubigne Bridge in eastern Lithuania. Though the skeleton lay under a layer of sand and silt, the scene was not a burial, said archaeologist Elena Praknite, a researcher at the local university in Lithuania. Rather, water currents likely deposited sediments that covered the remains over time. Scientists with the Faculty of Medicine for Vilnius University examined the body and reported that the person was male and that he died in the 16th century, though they don't know yet how he died. Weapons and other items recovered from the lake bottom near the body hinted at the dead man's military status. That is kind of cool. Here's a sickening story about animal smuggling. Dozens of smuggled parrots stuffed in plastic water bottles have been found. 10 of the birds were dead, and they were noticed after somebody heard noises coming from a large box inside. Oh, this is horrible, these poor birds. Anyways, this happened in Papua, in Indonesia's eastern region. And Indonesia is home to the highest number of threatened bird species in Asia and a rampant illegal trade in birds. Birds are also sold domestically in giant avian markets or smuggled abroad. The destination of the parrots found on Thursday morning in the port town of Fakfak, yes, Fakfak, was unclear, according to the local police. The ship's crew told us that they suspected there were animals inside the box as they had heard strange noises. No arrests have been made so far. The seized birds were identified as black-capped lories, a type of parrot native to New Guinea and nearby islands in the southwest Pacific Ocean. That's just terrible. I'm getting sick of these animal smuggling stories. Really am. Just after sunset on the evening of December 21st, take a look outside if it's not cloudy and snowing. Why? Jupiter and Saturn will appear closer together in Earth's night sky than they have been since the Middle Ages, offering people the world over a celestial treat to ring in the winter solstice. Alignment between these two planets are rather rare, occurring once every 20 years or so, but this conjunction is exceptionally rare because of how close the planets will appear to one another, said Rice University astronomer Patrick Hartigan. You have to go all the way back to just before dawn on March 4th, 1226, to see a closer alignment between these objects visible in the night sky. Jupiter and Saturn have been approaching one another in Earth's skies since the summer. From December 16th to 25th, the two will be separated by less than the diameter of a full moon. On the evening of the closest approach, on December 21st, they will look like a double planet separated by only 1/5 the diameter of the full moon, said Hartigan. For the most telescope viewers, each planet and several of the largest moons will be visible in the same field of view that evening. Though the best viewing conditions will be near the equator, the event will be observable anywhere on Earth, weather permitting. That is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love that stuff. And I'm going to get my cheap telescope off the rack, and we're going to go check that out. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What's your thoughts on people who claim communication with aliens? For you, boy, I don't trust that they talk to aliens, not saying that they aren't actually communicating with something, but I don't think it's ET on the other end. Greg, lucky people. That being said, I would rather avoid a visit from Carl. Go visit our Keith Andrews instead of me. Dwarvish Ranger, otherwise known as Robert on Twitter. If they claim that extraterrestrials put something in their rectum, I presuppose that they were sexually molested by a creepy neighbor. And the guy has a picture of a gnome. Or Uriah, I don't think about them at all. The paranormal genre has become stagnant. Okay, let's move on to Facebook. Where are we? Tim doesn't believe in them. Alex, if aliens are here and that seems to be the case, then sure there is communication on some level. The problem is the majority of the more popular people in the UFO community, pretty much anyone involved with exopolitics, to name just a few, are con men and full of crap. Kufunya, we who live on Earth must realize that there are many different realities within the multiverse. Steph, they make good evangelists. Melinda, this may depend on what you mean. In abductions, it's usually telepathic and is shown in the research to happen in pretty much all abductions. In conscious contactee scenarios, Both telepathy and spoken communication are commonly reported. Also in dreams, both are reported, but because one is dreaming, it's obviously received mentally. Carrie Lynn, I'd rather believe them and figure it out than close the door on the possibility. We communicate with our pets, so why is it so hard to think that other things are communicating with us? Oh, Captain Shirk, I don't know anyone personally who claims to do that. Are those who do claim this lying? Overly imaginative? I have no idea. However, if there were evidence, I believe the press, scientists, anthropologists, and just about anyone else of a professional background would be all over the story, and they are not. Very extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and most of the evidence I have seen regarding alien conversations is pretty poor. Nothing that indicates such is really occurring. Ryan, liars, unless they are next-dimensional aliens. Christine, well, I'm one of these who can claim to have not just have one over my lifetime, but several. And not just once have others in my family or staying with me at the time also witnessed seeing aliens. From a young age, they were always just another people. Jay, we can communicate with entities that we identify as alien, but alien is a subjective mainstream term. Kim, I receive many messages through meditating, dreams, astral travel. Whether I'm getting messages through dialing into the collective consciousness or receiving from an off-world entity, I suppose there's no way of knowing. Elliot, same as people who claim to talk to God or Atlanteans. Gil thinks it's total crap. Lewis, they're Genesis, just like their paranormal dopes. And James, depends on the person, what is reported, and the overall circumstances involved. Tina believes it's possible. Tara thinks, I most definitely find it intriguing. Serena, I've communicated with aliens. Sylvia, Eugene, perfect question, Dave. Kimberly, if someone can or is, very interesting, but to be honest, I don't think everyone gets that ability or opportunity. Bobby Squared, evidence is required before taking them seriously. Too many delusional people out there. They make the real contactees look bad. Kira gets the final word on this. Well, maybe not the final word, like the second to last. I've been an experiencer, both physical and telepathically, since an early age in childhood. I was told as a child that I was imagining things. Only much later as an adult did the evidence in unexplained photos and experiences with beings come out as truth. Makes no difference if someone says they don't believe, as I know what I've experienced, and no one can take it away. Walter thinks people are nuts. Tim is skeptical. Barry, I just want to communicate with aliens. That's where we're going to leave it right there here. Thank you to everybody taking part in the Thought of the Day. We'll do it all again tomorrow night on the show. And, of course, thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire, which can be found on our website, and Zion Zeta for hanging out with us talking aliens all night long. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You were all marvelous tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. Good way to end the week, people. Solid way to end the week. Good, healthy woo. Zion Zeta, appreciate you. I see you still hanging out in the chat rooms. Hey, Wendy Williams, good evening to you. Super Quest, how you doing, man? How was your night? You were safe? You were safe? I didn't get an update from you, so I'm going to assume you're safe. All right, so that's good. Yeah, if you want to tell people in the chat room, you can. I'm not going to. Nope, not my place. All right, 11:20. Let's go. Zion. Zeta. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do do do. Hold on 1 second here. Perfect. Cool. That's right. Be ready. This over here. Here, like. Oh. And let's refresh. No. And I'll be right back, guys. There's 95 of you. I shall be right back. Don't go away. Have some fun. All right, everyone. How many we still got here? 84. We dropped 11. I just disappeared to go to the bathroom. Gee whiz. Oh, we gained one. We gained one. Come join us in our chat room. Come say hello. Because you know we love you. Where are you guys? There you are. Oh, good night, Kay Kaylee. Have a great night. Good night, Gil. Appreciate you, man. They seriously just nailed that one. Very cool. Good night, A. Bauman. Good to have you back here, man. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to take a picture of that burger tomorrow. We are going to slay that burger. Paul, I tell you, it's years of practice and the fact that I am very much afraid of missing something. Now I don't catch everything. There's a lot I don't catch, but yeah, my brain kind of separates during the show, and here I am, trying to do a bunch of stuff at once. Sometimes it catches up to me. Sometimes I'm lucky enough where it doesn't. But you know, my eyes are always going, and my big thing is I do this for you guys. I do it for myself too. Don't kid yourself. I do it for myself, but I do it for you guys too. And I appreciate the fact so much that you guys are all here, supporting me, supporting this show. You believe in what we're doing here, and it would hurt me more to disappoint you guys than hurt myself not to pay attention and give a bad show. So that's pretty much why I'm pretty much ADD on this all. I guess that's what you would call it. Good night, Crow Creek. Take care. Going back to polishing silverware and shining up the crystal simware is today, Friday night. I need a light. Hey, Heather, you can't leave like that. We need to know about this silverware stuff. Why are you polishing silverware? Just out of curiosity. I didn't realize people still polish silverware. Oh, Thanksgiving dinner next week. That's right. Heather, are you going to be prepared to brawl on Black Friday? Be honest. There better be a Black Friday. I've looked way too hard for this. I'll tell you, if there is no Black Friday, you guys better read my blog on Saturday, because I am going off at my disappointment. Hey, David Vincent, how you doing? Toothpaste is the key. Gotcha. No info here about Earth being a prison planet? Not right now, because the show is over. And I'm just kind of winding things down. right, Dave, we want you to fly. Dave, no ads yet about the Black Friday. Up online. Well, that sucks. Damn it, people. We need to brawl here. Oh, Heather, I love you. I love you. Heather's ready to drop the gloves. I could tell. Totally tell. Heather is totally ready to drop the gloves. She's like, screw that coronavirus stuff. Let's go. Let's brawl. Fabster, Dave, we want you to fly into the States and unleash you for a Black Friday brawl. Fap, if I'm going to do that, you and I are going to do this together. Thurston Howell III, say goodnight to Lovey for us, if you don't mind. Chris Mo, how you doing, man? All right, are you guys ready to get your verification codes ready? All right, we need to transfer this bad boy. Your verification code for tonight, people, is 190208. 190208. Verify wisely, space travelers, because we don't want you to go through the weekend unverified. Yeah, Fap, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Fast Hemi, good night. You're probably right there, Reverend Keith. He says, you probably can't fight unless there's ice under your feet. That's probably very true. I'm not going to lie. That's probably very true. Can't even deny that. Thank you, Fast Hemi. You too, man. Where are we? That one is this one. Good night, Pastor Keith. Good night, Chris Mo. Boy, everybody's leaving in a hurry here. Got to get ready for the weekend. There better be some training going on. No, I'm not a psychedelics kind of guy either. Well, I'm going to call this early here because some of us do have to work in the morning, but I want to say thank you to Fapster, Big Rob, Cat Chaser, where's my mouse? Long Island Bigfoot, Alaska's greatest athlete, Ladybug Bigelow, and Zen Master Me for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you, everybody this week who's donated in the super chat, everybody who has hit that subscribe button and really enjoyed the show, everybody who's given us thumbs up and thumbs down and shared us all over social media. I really appreciate all of you taking the time to support this show. We are pushing hard. We'd like to get to 10,000 viewers before, or subscribers, pardon me, before we call it the year here in 2020. And let's see how close we are to that. Let me just take a look here. We're at 9,332. 9,332 is where we are at. And so that means we need 6,608. Yeah, no, pardon me. 668 people to join us by December 31st. And that 10,000th person, we are going to, you know what, I'll do 2 draws, okay? I'll do a draw for whoever number 10,000 is. I will do that draw. And for those of you who are already in here, in this group, I will do a draw as well. Okay, so if you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and you are someone who frequently watches the show or downloads the show or checks us on out, whenever you have an opportunity, I will, out of those 9,999 other people, I will do another package. So there will be 2 packages going out. Let's hit 10,000 by the end of the year, and we can do that. We'll do 2 packages. Is that fair? I think that's fair. So much love to all of you. I'm going to bail on out of here and enjoy the weekend. I got some web work to do. Don't forget my blog will be up probably by tomorrow night, and we'll have the show's schedule all ready for next week as well for tomorrow night. And yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend. Much love to all of you. Thank you so much for your love and support. We'll see you. And remember, together, my friends, guess what? We own the night. Take care.